probably won't show you this, but you should know who this is. Peter Vokus, one on the list. It's good, hopefully good reminders. Who's this? Marguerite Wildenhain. And I double checked the spelling. There was some confusion on her last name. I checked and double checked the spelling of all these names, so you guys are learning it correctly. So that's Marguerite doing her thing. Rudy Audio, I'm afraid he didn't make the list. Sorry, Rudy. There you are. All right. That's Adelaide Robino, and her famous face. That's Hamina, Georgie Hamina, and that's Buddy, Brother Leach. All right, moving on. Focus once again for image quality. How about this guy? You guys struggled with him, it seems like last time. He's on the list, second from the end. Robert Arneson. If you need to jot down some notes off of these, I would do it. Robert Arneson. He's on the list. Stephen DeStabler. PH. John Mason. I don't know how you're, we've talked about him several times. Oops, sorry. That's the same guy. Focus and Vocus. Same picture, sorry. Mason. I think it's easy to remember. His work looks rocky mostly, or he has the X's. If you can remember that, you'd probably be in good shape. Beatrice Wood is on there, about in the middle. Once again, John Mason, the famous scarab face by Adelaide Robino. Adelaide, also. Throw out her middle name. That's Hamina's work. How are you going to remember that?
Square.
I'll give you. I mean, a lot of what's that?
Because you're not going to do Bernard Leach's square jars like almost the same. Right?
Yeah, there is. I'm going to make it easy on you as much as possible. Shoji Hamina's work, he does this a lot of kind of calligraphy type decoration, and I'd say I see a lot of this kind of square bottle type stuff out of Hamina. Leach also did some of the same stuff, but I'm not going to try to trick you. Hamina, these square bottles of the calligraphy would be a safe guess. I'll try to keep the Leach stuff more Leach-y, less Hamina-y. So that's a Leach platter. I put that one in because we like something more video. Say, they're very similar, but you remember who this is? This is Marguerite Wildenhain. Her work is just very straightforward, kind of functional type stuff, not really sculptural in any way. And, maybe due to the time that she was working, to me, it has a real 50s, kind of 60s look to it. Kind of stony, I don't know, at least the glazes. All of her work kind of has a similar feel, so if you can remember that. Okay, what's that?
I'm sorry,
That's a Peter Vokus. I'm sure there's plenty of people that have tried to rip it off over the years, but anything like that with the incising and those pushed out sections from the back, that's kind of trademark Vocus platter. And then the trademark Vocus sculptural vessel would be kind of like this, these real chunky. I think we've watched a couple of videos of him making these, so hopefully you'll remember that. And his name is right there on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that from here. He made that in '95. Rudy Audio not going to be on the final, but we'll give him a nod anyway. The Vocus, big, chunky pieces. Ken Price. I mean, we talked about Ken's career, and he did a lot of other things, but I don't think I'm going to show you anything that is kind of tricky. Some of the stuff doesn't look like it's just so different. I don't think it's the best word. So. Okay, who's this? It's John Mason. Remember X's and stony walls and pillars. Who's this? Soldner. That's Stephen Stabler. Those I don't know, they're anatomical pieces in stone. I don't know how you describe it. They look like, it's usually a figure kind of embedded. A lot of people, I don't know, they kind of argue whether they're emerging from the stony thing or they're kind of like dying away. I guess it doesn't really matter. John Mason, remember the X. And also another Mason piece. That is a John Mason piece, but it's kind of, it was, I think it's used a lot because it was I think he considered this piece to be a huge breakthrough for him because of the scale. I bet that piece is maybe close to 10 feet tall, and to fire a 10-foot single piece of clay was kind of a technical feat. So I think he thinks of this as an important piece. I don't know if it's the best word. That's just my opinion. All right, who's this? Ken Price. I'll try to keep Ken Price's work separated by the surfaces. Remember, Ken Price uses a lot of paint, or did a lot of his career. So this is acrylic paint, and so are these. So Ken Price used a lot of acrylics on his work. You think it looks like acrylic paint, and for your final, you're probably looking at Ken Price. How about this piece? No? Beatrice Wood. Remember, she, I think, almost all of her work, at least the work that you're going to see in collections and thought of as kind of her signature work would be a lot of these little chalice type things, and they're almost all luster fired. So it's kind of that, see that iridescence on this, probably a Beatrice Wood piece. How about this guy? Adrian Sachs. He is on the list, number last. So, not that he's the least of these people. He's one of the most contemporary of the people. So. That's Robert Arneson. Most of Arneson's work are portraits of him. A lot of self-portraiture, but this is Jensen. So. Sorry. Right there. Okay, here's someone new. Ruth Duckworth. Most of her work is just white. I mean, at least the work I'm going to show you. She's done other things, obviously. A lot of the murals that we saw are not just white, but the work that she, I think, is known for on a national scale is this kind of sculptural type of white work. She did use a lot of this. I think there's another piece of it. So who's this? Adrian Sachs. I think his work is so easy to spot. I mean, I don't know if there's any, you guys have anything that you're looking at on this that would distinguish it from the other stuff? Ways that you're remembering it's Adrian Sachs?
This is how ornamental it is. The way his candles are, they all have that, I don't know what, like Victorian style
Right.
edges.
His surfaces are very Saxy. That's how I remember. You're welcome. Who's that? Ken Price. How you gonna remember that?
It's organic flow.
You see a blob that looks covered in acrylics, it's Ken Price. It's not bad. Okay, what about this guy? He's on the list, I believe. Right? Yes, he made the list. Who is it?
And
Ferguson. Remember Ken Ferguson? This I think of all the work I've seen of his over the years, this would probably have all the elements that make it a Ken Ferguson. It's a pot, but it's pretty, a lot of times pretty sculptural. The rabbits should be kind of a giveaway, and this greenish kind of, I'm guessing it's chrome-based glaze that kind of reads as like aged copper or something. That's the work that I think of when I think of Ken Price. He did other things, but this is kind of his, I think, his signature type piece. But it is much. There's another rabbit. It's Ken Ferguson as well. So we just saw one of hers, but it was a wall piece. Who's this? Ruth Duckworth. Ben? Who's this? Ron Nagel. And Ken Price and Ron Nagel have some overlap, and you guys will have to. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to try to trick you. I mean, there's some cups that are Ron Nagel's and Ken Price's, and there's hardly any way to tell the difference. Ron Nagel's early work looks a lot like Ken Price's work. So, Ron Nagel's work, usually these little cups, they're well glazed, you might say, and that's what I'll show you for the final. It's not going to be Ken Price's stuff. I'll keep to the acrylic painted blobs probably. Okay. That's another Ron Nagel. Remember, all about the glaze. His work, remember, I think he talks about being inspired by kind of hot rod paint jobs and, that kind of stuff. And I can see that, like the pinstriping on a car and stuff like that. He's doing some of the similar things. So, Meg, who's this? This is June Kaneko. He's on the list, kind of towards the bottom. These big dingo forms, these big closed forms. That's kind of his thing. Large scale, okay? Who's this? Should be fresh in our minds. Who is it? Warren McKenzie. I mean, after Leach and Hamada, our American kind of functional hero is probably Warren McKenzie. And he was obviously influenced by Hamada and Leach, but he was all about just functional pots. That's what his reputation is about. So that's the Warren McKenzie piece. How about this guy? On rights, towards the bottom. I don't know how you're going to remember his work, but remember he did these T-stack forms, kind of the form that he is known for. Although he watched the video, and he's done a lot of other things, but these type of forms are, to me, they're quite cool to see. But they do have some aspects that make them all done right. So remember done right and the key stacks. Some more. We just saw this on a presentation this morning. Don't listen to it. Trying to turn you off. More Mackenzie. His initials on there, so hopefully that'll help you. If this one shows up. WN. All right, what about this guy? Paul Soldner. Where's he on the list? He's kind of in the middle there. Yeah, Paul Soldner's work, a lot of what you'll see has the, it's either kind of this low fire salt. Remember, he did innovate with what we would call now American raku, but most of his more, prominent work is this low fire salt stuff, and with a lot of texture and kind of slabs and throw components. But remember the texture. Remember the footprints. That might be a good. There he is. Paul Soldner. Some more of his work. Adrian Sachs. Also need to have our pictures looking like that. One of these days. Things like Lakeland. I think, if I remember right, I've got a whole truckload of Adrian Sachs' work all there together. I'm excited to find it.
Are you doing one with each artist, or is it just images?
Do you need to know?
Or is it gonna be like 5 of, you can stack them and?
If you need to know, I don't know why this would hurt anything. I picked 2 images per artist. Adrian Sachs. Is there someone else on the list? Ray Martinez. This is black on black. Kind of her thing. There she is. Her cuts. And I think I have another group right here. So Ray Martinez. Tom Coleman did not make the list. He's just too young. Maybe someday he'll make the list. How about this? Remember, the luster ware, this iridescence, and she made a lot of these little chalices. Not everything she made, but she made a lot of these types of things. Another one, Beatrice Wood. And honestly, I cut out some of this, kind of the more cultural type based stuff from the final. Hope you don't mind. I thought that the kind of knowing key moments in ceramics history was more important than being able to identify these different cultures in their work, because honestly, there's just more than we didn't cover a lot of what has happened in the world throughout history. If you guys go to grad school, maybe you can study some of this pretty quick. Anyway, I think that's, let me just double check. I think that's, you guys hopefully know what that is. But, oh, here's a couple more at the end. Who's that? Robert Arneson. The Volcus Platter. Don Wright. Hopefully you can kind of see that. And I think that's probably, oh wait, what about that? That's one that he's on the list. I think I put Charles Binns on there, Charles Fergus Binns on the list, mainly because, he's one of the people that push towards, probably coming out of the Industrial Revolution. He was one of the people